I'm going to turn on recording so we can sort of follow the intro a bit along. Do we get this idea? This kind of love is very consistent with the heavenly abodes, then also unconditioned, always available, never diminished, always flourishing, growing, uh, incapable, incapable of not being available every breath moment. It's not possible that it is not there. Isn't that encouraging? And then, wow, right? And then we have the opportunity, I think, to go, what might possibly then, given that it is our truest nature, given that it is who we really are, given that it is always available, never diminished, only flourishing, only growing. Yeah, we laugh, right? Because we go like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. I forgot for a minute. What could get in its way? I want you to write into chat. What gets in your way? What could it be? If you are the sky, no joke, you are the sky, cannot be diminished. Truly, in any moment, what could get in its way? Carrie writes hollowness, not as a negative. She writes hollowness, really, I think, Carrie, right, as this unconditioned open space. No edges, no borders, no boundaries, no separation. Is that what you meant?
No, actually, from the book, it's the opposite of the love that we were
Oh,
talking
he
about.
uses hollowness in that way.
And I don't know, it just struck me as, oh crap! So the stuff that we call love is hollow.
Yes, I like that actually. I wouldn't have used that word only because it reminds me of emptiness, which is where I was going.
Yeah, no,
He really means a felt sense
right.
of no one home, doesn't he? No, no essence. We could call it no essence. Let's do that.
Yeah,
I recollect this now. Thank you. Um, Hollowness. That anybody describe this? A kind of sickened, weak, uh, dis embodied. See, I don't want to use the word empty because we use it in a very different way in the Zen tradition. Um, right? We're getting the idea, I think. We know that feeling of hollow. When I get that, I'll tell you what happens for me as a descriptor. I get this metal taste in my mouth. It's like I have left, dissociative would maybe be closer, like not in there, nobody home. Um, sh- Shallow. I got to watch the word empty because I'm heading for it again. Not home, no refuge, no enlivening. We get this idea thing. Clouds appear and block the sky. So it appears. I love your word appearance here, Dennis. Only by appearance can the clouds block the sun. It is never true because what? Just above and not very high in that true sky, what is there? Bright, brilliant, radiant, what? Sun. The whole of the universe and all of the universes then available, right? Just the appearance of the cloud. And what in fact is a cloud but vapor? Simply an arising appearance. Nothing real, substantive, solid, nothing uh, formed that abides at all. And so we can use emotions get in the way. Adrian says, oh boy, isn't it true? Uh, right? Whatever the emotion can seem so big. Why? Well, it includes not only our thoughts, not only this present moment body, right? That can be in contractedness, can feel hollow. I'm going to use Zochny's term. It can consume us. the nature of emotions are that they can appear like those dark clouds that Dennis just mentioned to consume us, except not so, not so. Don't you love that? It's not actually true. It is not actually true, though thoughts are included in emotions. Body sensations are also present in emotion, as well as the emotion itself. I got 3, 4 people on. I want to see if you want to come on and say something. I just saw Greg. So, Greg, I want to make sure we didn't chase you off. I don't know where Greg went, but it looked like he had something he wanted to add. Any thoughts about this?
I just came on and I'm trying to change my name.
You're so beautiful as me, Greg.
I know.
I love the I love the truth of that. I must say, I love the truth of this.
I do too.
You are
Yeah.
me and I am you. We actually know you pretty well, Greg. So, the good news is we know you when you come on. No one even gets confused.
Well, I'm you in drag. That's what.
That's right. That's right. So what we were saying, Greg, is that we can frequently get caught in the dark clouds. We're using that metaphor from Dennis and then Adrian adds emotions. We can get caught in preferences. Pete says, oh boy, thank you for that one, Pete. Conditioned existence. Nothing better than a preference to buy into, right, Pete? As a way of thinking it should be like this because, well, I should be comfortable. I should be secure. I should be sustained. Right? The permanence and the seeking of permanence is what all preference is about in the pursuit of security. We get this, right? So I like chocolate better than vanilla. I'm going to use a very simple example. And then here I am somewhere getting vanilla ice cream. And however subtle the felt sense, if we have a strong enough preference, what does it do? It says this is not okay, called the ice cream. This is not okay. Consequently, the brain stem moves further into what? Then I am not okay. This is the nature of preference. Preference is conditionalized existence. I like this blanket, not this one. I want to be this warm, not this cool. I want to have that color, not this color. I like those earrings, not these earrings. We do it continuously. I'm using some somewhat ridiculous examples, but don't we? Don't we? I had a client once who actually, a young couple just engaged. This is probably 20 years ago. And they came in and she was livid. And I'm not joking. This is a part of what we all have to face and look at in our current time as well, not only individually, but collectively. She did not get a large enough diamond ring. It was X carats, not Y carats. And she was going to read him the riot act about why she deserved a larger carat diamond. Now, again, I'm using some ridiculous examples, but we have to smile not only at her, which is easy to do in this example, we have to smile at our own preferences, our own biases, and we have to recognize them as such. We could say the election itself, a series of preferences, a series of wants, a series. And then we could also say, in relationship to that collective, there are also basic values, principles, noble endeavors that are not based on preference, at all, but are based on a quality of being. Based on a quality of being, not to be conditionalized, right? So there are two things ongoing in our relative and then in our absolute realities. And we would say essence love then is closer to the absolute reality. And then how do we, and it's a question I'm asking myself every day, particularly as it relates to those who have voted, speaking to our politic, who have voted for something that looks at its appearance so inconsistent with basic values. And then you realize that we have failed, haven't we? We have essentially failed in providing a sense of basic goodness, basic decency, basic uh, rights and privileges and needs, I would say is the word that I'm looking for, basic needs in our country. And then we look more at how do we participate in equalizing that. We're going to keep talking about it because we are a group of essentially compassionate action towards all beings. And so I love that. I love that about us all. I'm glad to see you here today. We all need to be here so desperately. And so then let me read two more and then we're going to sit. It's already 7:16. When I'm engaging in one of the four obstacles and not acknowledging what I'm feeling, then I'm not home. That's right. That's the hollowness, Siobhan, that Zokhny was mentioning. I was seeing it in a whole different way, but we'll talk about the way we can mistake them, how the hollowness of meaning the empty of one's true nature or that felt sense, it's never possible, can be mistaken um, uh, for equanimity or even compassion, because the person can by appearance look calm or when in fact they're deadened. It's one of the errors in the Zen tradition is to not be home at all, but to be quite equanimous in appearance, which is not our goal. Better to scream the truth. Wouldn't it be better to scream the truth than to be absent to the truth of this human? Okay, we're going to do some practices for chapter 5. You guys, I'm at Mom's. You can see by the crud in the background there, the cuckoo clock, which always tickles me, which was my grandfather's, brought back from the Korean War, I think, by my uncle back there. There's the lineage in its appearance. Let's prepare to sit. We're going to move right from silent sitting into the practice of making contact with that vast, open, spacious, unconditional, ever present, always available, never going anywhere else. It's right here, right now, quality of being. And then we'll talk about how do we make that live? What are some practices? I'm going to turn off recording so that we can just sit silently. And so anchoring yourselves in your seat, finding that refuge, that home base, just beginning to turn the mind, one's attention very gently towards this body sitting here. And the instruction while we're sitting silently today is see if you can locate anywhere in the body as you're breathing into that breath space, whether it's the whole of the breathscape, the heart space, the diaphragm, the belly, some amalgam of this. See if you can find a place to rest that is a place of non-bias. Where might it be? A place to abide without preference. Let's investigate. Indirect and immediate contact with the physical body. Noticing the ever changing, arising, and passing qualities of sensations. And if you were looking for a point of refuge in this physical body, you would likely have turned towards something that was neutral or pleasant, a sense of spaciousness, openness, ease, calm. It may have been available or not available, given the nature of the body. And then we can move beyond the physical body as we have into the subtle body, not just physical, but a more felt sense beyond the sensation, a little more inner vibrations or tingling, maybe a subtle sense of energy, movement of energies, even beyond the sensation itself. And then even beyond the subtle body, the very subtle body, which is what I think Zakni was also talking about, this always available, ever present, abiding quality of knowing. And then not only of knowing the experience of the body, the mind, the heart, but this capacity to shake hands, to be truly present, open, allowing, no matter what the particulars of the sensations might be, not based on conditions at all, but the quality of heart mind holding it. And then, every sensation becomes imbued with this unconditional quality of essence love. Sensations we like as well as those we don't. Now, the circumstance, the preference, and the emotions are no longer in the way. We shake hands from this quality of bodhicitta, of heart mind, that opens and transmutes everything. now perfect in its temporary, ephemeral, flash-like nature, but all a part of this essential essence love, greeted, welcomed, held, embraced, opening us. We remember our sky-like quality of heart mind, capable, warm, spacious, willing to hold and abide and embrace all things. No preference, no problem, no struggle. And then to support this essence love, we can call to mind if it's useful for you and not for everyone. Could you call to mind uh, a being, a deity, a pet in which you have felt this unconditional love, unconditional presence? And it may have been a fleeting moment, but you knew it. You knew it and you remember it because of its unconditioned nature. And Jama Kransky, a friend from Boston, talks about soaking in this love, this essence love, not conditioned by greed or wanting or desire or circumstance at all. The love of my grandmother, love beyond condition, love beyond preference, love beyond pleasant or unpleasant. This is our true nature. And then soaking in that love, bathing in it, relaxing in it, imagining that person above you, if it's helpful, or within you, as they are already, emanating, radiating, generating this essence love throughout the whole body, like warmth, like space, like light, like energy, subtle body knowing. An aliveness. Breathe it in. Let it wash over you and make sure to include the whole of the bodies, the physical body, the subtle, more emotion laden body, and then that knowing body. Let it touch every cell, every hair, every pore. Let it vibrate you. there is no place in the body where this is not available. Places of comfort or discomfort alike. Let the body soften in its truth. Remembering that you too are this essence love. It was offered to you as you also now have it available, your true nature. And then recollecting a moment, if you would, when that essence love was available within you, from you. No matter the circumstance, no matter the challenge, no matter the fear, that this essence love was completely available. It may have been enacted, it may have found expression, and it may simply have been known. As is its nature. This is the handshake. We bring this very quality, this very truth of our being to whatever else arises within the heart, mind, or body. Arms wide open, heart wide open, whatever it is. And then there is no part of the mind, the heart, or the body that is not this essence love. In its infinite and myriad expressions. Bask in it. Relax in it. Let it wash over and through and around and then beyond you. Radiant. It is its nature. It cannot be contained or limited. It can only grow and flourish and is never diminished. May we remember this quality of our true being. And may we remember it for ourselves and then for all beings. And may this practice contribute so be it. And then taking a moment. And then we smile, don't we? Yeah, we smile at the truth. And then for me, always, I go, how could I have forgotten? How could I have forgotten this again and again? And then we remember. So I'm going to check in. We did a very quick version of that. Of course, I've done it in retreat in a much longer form, but I hope we were able in some way to make contact with it. I want to check in, just make sure that we get a sense of that practice. Any feedback or questions about that? Both are welcome because they're both important. Feedback or questions about the practice?
Can I share something that it's very parallel to this whole amazement that you just did. So on Thursday night, well, I'm going to go back one step. So I used to be extremely political, and 4 years ago, before I went to the wellness center for 30 days, that was when all the Trump stuff was happening. And I was like, the election stuff, I was like literally obsessed and making myself literally sick from the political, like, just, I was like a political junkie. And what I learned there, which is what you always preach, that being mindful and knowing that I am in control and I can allow what I would like into my mind and what I want to be consistently thinking of, and et cetera. And I also previously was always watching like dramas that were sad about like abused kids and murdered, like all of this stuff that is not something you want to completely avoid, but I was obsessed with that as well. So and this whole election thing started happening, and I had really taken myself away from watching that type of stuff, and all of a sudden I found myself watching that Menendez monster series, and I was like back into it, ironically, because I think that's where I went to with this devastation of thinking of Steve Bannon and Steve Miller, and like all of this stuff was going crazy in my head. But Thursday night happened, and Thursday night was my Nourishing Earth event here, and I was busy all day, and it was a success. And there were all of these people from, moringa specialists and people who cared about the earth and the ecosystem. And it was just like, it was such a beautiful, warm, it was amazing. I felt held, just interacting with all of these new people, and the visions for like, bringing farming to children, and this Little Shepherd's Nature Lab, they gave a presentation. It's like, it was just a beautiful feeling. And normally I would have been on that text chain, and this is not, I'm not downing this, I'm just showing, it was just the text chain that you guys had was Thursday, right, about that, and I would have been boop, 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 boop. And I looked at it and I was like, oh my gosh, I can choose where to put my energies. And there was a couple little girls there, and, showing them how to, be in a positive world. I just thought it was just so kind of like, okay, a good reminder. Stop watching the Menendez. Stop thinking about the election. Put my energy towards the wonderment of the world, because there are good people. It was such a good reminder. There are not there, everyone's not the Steve Bannons. Even there's still 50% almost of the population that didn't vote that way. So it was just a good, like, I felt better. And I just wanted to share that. It was like, we have to put ourselves, we can choose to be mindful, and where do we want to put our energy, even though there doesn't mean we're not going to pay attention to homelessness and sadness. So I just had to share that. It was like ironic.
Yes. Ultimately, what I would say, Felicia, as well as to all of you, ultimately, we can place the mind everywhere and anywhere and bring this quality of awakened heart mind. But in our training, right, in our practice, in our growing these qualities and remembering them, it is also true that we do have the right and the privilege to protect our heart minds from, right, overwhelm, from getting caught in the negative loop until we are sufficiently held, right? And that is by our own, the quality of our own heart mind. Because I can't, and you can't count on anybody else in any moment to do that for us. That is our charge. That is our work. And you notice all of our problems come, I think, the minute we got outside of our own capacities and looked to somebody else to do it for us. Isn't it consistently? And I'm looking at people in partnership, right? The minute you went, not you should be the one. Why can't you just be loving? Why can't you be kind? Why can't you, the other side, the other political party, get it together for me? Why can't you, the child, be grateful? Why can't you, the partner, be more loving? Right? Look what we do. This is that preferencing that, right? And the truth is, yes, on the training path, it is important to regard ourselves well and then to protect and guard. It's called guarding the mind from falling into dangerous and treacherous places. And ultimately, it is not true. You can go anywhere. You can go anywhere. You can go to this idea of the other side without problem. I'm noticing this capacity in myself. I'm a little stunned. I'm a little surprised. My mother and I had a talk yesterday. She said, I don't want to bring up the election because I know your people didn't win. I said, no, they're not my people. We don't have people. They're all our people. We have to really, Mom, this is my commitment. We're going to figure this out together. And she was like, I don't think I've heard you say that before. We cannot afford to take a side. We have to be on everybody's side. It doesn't mean that we're skillful. It doesn't necessarily mean others are skillful. We're going to keep working on this together. And by the way, you're going to watch 10,000 spiritual people of all traditions come together and say this exact thing. They're going to say this exact thing because what? It is the thing. It is the only path. It is the only way. And I don't care if you watch Deepak Chopra or you watch who, right? It doesn't matter who it is. If anybody's got their salt about them, they're going to be saying exactly this. Why? It was always true. It was always true. It was never a side. It was always going to be all of us together, getting it or not getting it, moving it forward or not moving it forward. It was never going to be those guys and us guys. And if only we won, it would have worked out. It wasn't true. It would have just been us winning and us liking the winning and us going, now we can do all kinds of crap, except What do we know? We already know better. There is no side. And any side you take will be the wrong side. Huh? Any side you take is going to be the wrong side. It doesn't mean we don't stand for aspirations, principles, values, but it means there is no side in the living of them. There never was and there never will be. It'll never be true. And so what are we going to do? We're going to get on the other side, the perceived other side, and what? Do all the things we're talking about. Live, be essence, love. Because that's the job. Doesn't mean you don't say no to wrong things either. That's, right? We're not going to get smarmy about it. Doesn't mean you don't say no. It means you say no without aggression, no without hostility. And it's not easy. I'm working on it every day, just like you. But we're going to do it together. So thank you for that. I'm going to read this quick. Some people have already had to leave, so I understand if you've got to go. Yes, when we have limited resources, the number one person to take care of is right here. Isn't it? Always true. Always true. We get mixed up a lot. See, this is that black and whitish side taking thing. Wherever you need to go, you go. Right? And by the way, however low your resource, there may be a circumstance in which somebody else's hair is on fire and you are going to respond. And I have confidence in that. I have confidence in that. But yes, when we can, when the conditions are available to us, yes, sometimes we need to, right, just grieve, just take good care, just be with ourselves, just be in nature. Absolutely correctly right. But towards what end? All beings everywhere, without exception, beginning with you. Beginning with you. Yes, always. So yes, stay there, care there, rest there, be there. Yeah, is right. And will always be. I'm going to check in before we go to the Kindle chapter. It's kind of a large one. I think we'll only get through Zochnes, but I want to check in with the group. What else is there to say about this? What do we need to know in order to practice living this every day?
So I was with my brother this last weekend, and so we had this conversation, and I found out that my brother had voted for Trump. And so, interestingly, because we'd had this discussion before, I didn't think he was going to be doing that. But so we just had an honest conversation. And I think one of the things, that I've learned during this whole process, because I have other friends who are also people that have supported Trump and others that I don't necessarily agree with, and is to listen. And I think it's important to listen. And, I think you were just saying that, to be there with an open heart. And as soon as you start to feel like, some anger or something like about what they're saying, and I'm not saying that you have to agree with it at all, or that you don't think that there may be something that's going to be a major problem, because I do, I'm very strong on climate change and the environment and the impacts. But I think that we start to divide, and if we do that, it's just creating more of a problem. And it's really important right now in this time, I think, for us to sort of pull together. That we're all together in this. We're all human beings, and so let's keep that in our forefront.
Yes.
And if you feel the anger, then just take a look at your anger. That's just going to create suffering.
That's right.
Anyway, that's what I learned with my brother this weekend.
Yes. We're going to keep learning that, Greg, as we make contact with people with other perspectives, other ideas. I came to this in my own thinking the other day, which is if half of us are right, and I have no idea what that means, I'm making this up for conversation. If half of us are right, we still are going to die because we need all of us to act. And so we better figure out what we can all do together and begin there, because that's going to be all of us doing it. And that's going to be more potent, isn't it, than however right we were and whatever the actions were that are half right, right? Because half right's going to kill us anyway. We better figure out, what can I do that my brother will do, that my mother will do, that my, right, all those others will do also. However right we are is not going to be sufficient. We better get it figured out. And I'm on that path, you're on that path. And so we're going to get it. We are going to get it, aren't we? Because we're going to go, okay, no more just me and my arrogance, no more me and my rightness is going to work. It is not going to work. In fact, I'll tell you a quote some homeless person told me yesterday. It'll make me cry, which is just good news. He said, you know what the problem is? No. Well, please tell me, because I would love to understand that better so that I could find the solution. And he said, you think you're the middle class. You think you're the average person, and you're not. You believe everybody thinks like you because you think you're in the middle of it all. You're not in the middle of anything. You're way over there in beautiful Encinitas, California, right? In a very nice house, not so much, he means money, right? Thinking that everybody thinks like you. Well, there are other people, oh, by the by, who don't have that house, who don't live in that neighborhood, who don't get to buy all organic. Just so you know. They don't think like you. They aren't you. Well, they are me. I better start thinking like them. Right? I better get it. You are not the middle class like you think you are. You think you're the average Joe. You're not average at all. Oh, right?
Yeah.
Let me hang on to that thought, right? And he was my teacher. And consequently, what do we know? Our best friends.
Yeah.
Who let us
Yeah.
know what those truths are, don't we? You're not everybody. Forget about it. Everybody lives in Terre Haute, Indiana, and is trying to figure out how to get milk for their kids.
So true. I got to share that when I have a challenged little person on the tennis court, a lot of times they want to do what they want to do. And I'm saying, I look at the parents, they have their back turned to what we're doing. And it's amazing to me that just by being still and listening, keeping an open heart, they find some resolve to make them feel, oh, that I'm okay, A, and B, whatever I'm doing is going to be all right. So if I'm not critical and just opening up, then boom, there's things that happen. As soon as I close my heart down and shut down, boom, then nothing gets resolved.
All
So,
trouble begins there, Dennis. That is 100% correct. All
yeah,
trouble.
I have to stay on the light side. I have to.
Open and open and open some more. We're going to go to look at Zonkini's chapter. I'm going to see if I can't pull it up for us all here. And this chapter says just exactly what we're all saying. I'm not seeing it for some reason. Let me try again. Let me pull it up and then see if I can't get back to it. There we go. There we go. It's funny how. So here is the Kindle. Get that open. And what comes up is a lovely poem, by the way, that I really like. I'm hoping you guys can see the Kindle. Can you see that? Anybody see the Kindle version of this? Because I can't see it.
We saw it for a minute, but it's disappeared now.
Yeah, this is just strange. Let me try it one more time. That was very odd. I thought I saw it as well. And I'm looking at it, which is why it's,
Yeah, it popped up for a hot minute there, and then it just went.
and then, and then it went away. Okay, let me see. Now I'm looking at it now. Let me see if I can't get this to work. I think I had a blip, actually in the Wi-Fi. I'm at my mom's house. She does not have the latest and the greatest as it relates. Let me, not doing it. Let me try one more time. I'm looking right at it, guys. I don't know. All right. Hopefully we have it there. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Is
Okay. So successful. Okay, so essence love. We're using that language, even though we could call it true nature, greatest heart, natural quality of being. We could use any and all. Really, the bottom line is he's using this first example, these first pages, just to talk about how in his moment of hollowness, deadened, dissociated, disconnected, empty in the negative sense, he was more vulnerable, as it turns out, to this greedy, grasping, buying, and he buys a computer, and it turns out the computer doesn't make us happy, just like no set of earrings, no house, no car can do that in any kind of permanent way. And in the tradition, particularly the Buddhist tradition, they say that all greed is like drinking salt water, hoping it would quench our thirst. Can you get this idea? All greed, all desire, all sense desire is like drinking salty water or seawater, hoping it would quench our thirst, and it has no capacity other than the temporary neurotransmitted hit of adrenaline that you will get, which is highly addictive. Highly addictive. And so we can go, no, it did work. It only worked while I had that new car smell. It only worked while the first time I wore those earrings and everybody complimented. It only worked when I bought the house, and then when I had to upkeep the house and manage the yard and do all these, this whole thing became way too. So this is the idea. And he gives an example of that. He says here, meeting our feeling world in a raw, direct way with no agenda. That simply means not trying to get rid of it, not trying to stop it, not trying to change what ultimately is unchangeable. We can glimpse from time to time a natural well-being, not dependent on pleasant or unpleasant, not dependent on circumstance at all. I hope you got a little bit of a felt sense of that as you turn towards your own body, positive, pleasant sensations or not. There is a quality of heart, mind, being that can hold with love, with care, with attention, with compassion, and with wisdom and equanimity, can hold it all, making that very experience different. Doesn't mean the sensation's not the sensation, but how we hold it ultimately determines it. There is an increasing availability of our basic okayness underlying the feeling world. That means the emotion or preferencing world. I like to call this essence love. It's not flashy and loud. It's rather quiet and subtle. We often cannot feel it, I think, in the busyness of our day. We do have to connect deep into the stillness, silence of us before we can often access it. I think that's true. It is the true home of the feeling world. We might say the true home altogether of the feeling world and all worlds. There's a Hindi term, bindu, meaning seeds, and also karmically placed, by the way, not just circumstance, but a certain karmic quality to Bindu as well. And part of the subtle body, which differs from our physical body. We tried to make a little contact with that today. We are born with this capacity. Children know it best. When they're done, they're done. When it's time, it's time. When we're tired, we're tired. When we're hungry, we're hungry. And there is no ability to deny that essential reality. We are just one with the experience altogether. And then we all get frustrated by that, even though it's actually perfect. As we grow up in the modern world and participate in stressful and competitive schooling, our intrinsic essence love can get covered up with layers of, I think, demand. Demand that I've got to be this right now. I can't be that. I've got to look a certain way. I have to be look like I've got it together. I can't be in distress, as Kathy was saying. I just got to be with what's here. This distress is what's real right now. Yes, attend to it wholeheartedly. Attend to it. It is further beyond all hope and fear. It is just the arising of the present moment, exactly as it is. We begin there always. It is never actually destroyed or lost. Not that sense, but rather that which holds it. This bodhicitta quality that can hold everything. We often just can't find it, connect to it, and experience it, especially when we are caught in, what did we say? Preference, emotion, reactivity, busyness, greed, accumulation, preferencing, and division and separation. We need our wholeness in order to make contact with it. Through the handshaking practice that we did last week, we can begin to reconnect with this essence. Why is that? The handshake requires a greater quality of heart mind than our preferencing, wanting, and not wanting selves. It is that essence love itself. What could greet the monster if it were not unconditioned? What could greet the other side that we believe exists, if not the unconditioned, beyond the mere appearance, but something much deeper, much subtler, much more available than we give it credit for? The more we connect with and nurture our essence love, the more we can feel its qualities, that basic sense of okayness and its signs, unconditional well-being, a readiness to love. I don't think it's just love. I think it's step right in, step like going to love, a spark of joy, clarity, courage, and humor. I think it's all of that and more. Essence love is subtle. It's not always dramatic. I don't think it's so subtle in its expression. I think making contact with it, though, especially when we're not familiar, begins in a very subtle, sensed way. I think it is true. I don't feel it so subtly now. I feel it screaming, really, through my whole body. Be more, do more, open more, love more. I'm okay. I don't know why, but it's all right now. We can easily miss it, especially in its early phase, I think, because we are accustomed to looking for the symbol clash, the bright lights, the sparkly things. It is in our habit nature to do so. Like emotions, pain, and pleasure, essence love is more subtle than excitement. There's no doubt about that. It doesn't necessarily come with that idea of pleasant. It is beyond pleasant or unpleasant altogether. It says here, expression love is directed outwardly. That is different than essence love, which has no direction. It is not single directional at all. It's in every direction. It's radiant. It goes in, out, sideways, up, down, around. It has no limit. It includes parental love, romantic love, friendship love. This is the expression love that he's talking about. And I wrote here in a note, I do not agree that loving kindness is an expression love at all. I think it is one of the heavenly abodes. I think it is a kindness beyond condition. So he uses loving kindness here, I think, as a general act of kindness. I do not see loving kindness, particularly not from the four heavenly abodes, as conditional at all. I think it is also always available. So I do want to make that distinction. I think he's talking about just general day-to-day relative acts of kindness. And I still don't know. I don't know. I think that comes from another place, possibly. There is attention to something more fundamental, one step back, the raw stuff from which our expressions of love emerge, essence love. Unconditioned, always abiding, always perfect, always available, always you. Always the truest, greatest you. This is where love is born. It is the readiness to give and receive love, not based on our typical, and then I'll get, then I can have, then I feel good. We need to distinguish essence love from self-love. He's acknowledging here that in the positive psychology, we can get caught, I think, in more limited ideas about self-love than this general care for oneself on the path to being our truest nature. I think that's what he means by this. The quality of essence love is a little different, though. It is directionless. It is like a natural field of unconditional well-being within our, well, feeling world, certainly, but we would say all worlds, all qualities, beyond feelings, certainly. Essence love is not the mind generating a positive thought or feeling, not mind generated more, or feeling about our sense of self or about an image. It's not self-esteem or about an image of our body. We aren't generating it and directing it anywhere. Essence love is already there inside us from birth. It is our true nature. It is our essential characteristic. We get it covered up like those clouds in a vast sky by preferences, by conditions, by trauma, by being under-resourced. Connecting to essence love isn't exactly an antidote to self-judgment, but rather heals a sense of inner hollowness. This is what Carrie was referencing when she was using that word earlier. When we cannot connect to our intrinsic essence love, we can feel a sense of hollowness inside. This is different than the emptiness I was referencing. That emptiness is all abiding, greater than any size, color, time. This is that felt sense of deficiency, would be one maybe. That quality of unworthiness could come from there. A sense of separation would certainly contribute to this. Any reactivity would certainly blind us. I think we get the idea. Then our expressed love can be much less conditional when we rest in essence love in its warmth, because we are coming from a healthier place of okayness deep within ourselves, unconditioned qualities. Being is not okay. We can feel something deep in our being is not okay. We can offer emotionally imbalanced and hungry. He references the hungry ghost here. I talked about that quality of never being satisfied. There's just, you got to get more and more and more. The inner hollowness plus modern consumer culture is a dangerous combination. That should be underscored about 100,000 times. we can think, if only I could get it like this, or if I could get the thing, or if I could get that quality, or if I could get that partner, job, car, house, love, we could then be okay. Never true. There is no thing. Feeling empty inside, if you buy this, you'll be happy. That is our consumer culture lingo at its best. Our relationships, too, can be tainted by a secret agenda to fill the hollowness. We already talked about this. It can be motivated. I think it's almost always motivated by a sense of lack, a desire to fill that sense of deficiency, ickiness, quality, deadness. I will offer my love if you perform X, Y, and Z. Our love is often conditional. It often places hidden demand and want on the other. If only you could be a little more like this, and I'll be kind to you or love you in the hope you could become more like this. And then if you don't, I will quickly, often withdraw that love. That's conditional love. Otherwise, we can confuse self-worth with how others perform, and we perform. I think it's very, very common. In a similar way, the modern world is full of hindrances to connecting with our natural well-being, posing challenges for essence love to flourish in our lives. One reason is our busyness. He identifies very strongly. Even when our busyness comes out of the right thing, if we do not offer, I think the point being, sufficient opportunities for quiet, for stillness, for ease, for non-doing, for unconditional moments, I think we could get lost in it, even with the right agendas, right? The right thing. And I think that's his point here. From a deeper perspective, all conditional love has a flavor of hope and fear attached. Yes, it does. How do you know you didn't get what you wanted? The wanting nature is attached deeply to qualities of hope and fear. We have to recognize this in ourselves and then shake hands with that beautiful monster of wanting. Affection, deep devotion, deep love, these are among countless conditions that put us in touch with essence love. The unconditional love of a child, I think, and sometimes maybe of a practice, of a deity, of a teaching, of the Dharma. Certainly some quality in us that is ever abiding as we rest in its refuge. I think those are also expressions of this beautiful love. They name ways we can make contact with it: beautiful music, being in nature, gentle, long in and out breaths, nourishing the body with gentle movements, healthy food, and being in nature. I think these were all named as some of the ways we could recontact. So for those of you feeling under-resourced, this is certainly a part of the path. I would name stillness and silence as essential to a part of the path. Memories of kindness, love, without condition when we can find them, will also help. I tried to draw on that today as well. There is essential freedom in this kind of love. It wants for nothing. It is not seeking. It does not need gratitude. It does not need acknowledgement. Completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. Doesn't mean it's not pleasant, but just not a part of the, there's no grasp in it whatsoever. Only the wish for well-being, for happiness, for ease, for all of us to be okay in this world. This is inside me. This is my true nature. All other love then, beyond this love, is unreliable. That's impermanent. It comes and goes. It's based on conditions, circumstances, and I think the wanting nature of mind. I'm not quite getting the appreciation. I'm not quite getting the mirroring, the reflection I think I should have. This love is love that is limited. We all know it. The essence love does not depend on any conditions. We know this as well. Then we can lose hope at times when we are thinking, I'm going to do this, and then this is going to get me something. Whether it's a change in the climate policy, whether it's less demand from others, whether it's appreciation or gratitude, and that's all limited and will get us in trouble, certainly, as we know. Love should be like this. This is one of my common errors. I think, oh, if I only do this, then you will be kind in return. That is wanting love, limited love, conditioned love. This love we're talking about is well beyond any return. Any return. A problem arises, though, when we confuse the trigger, the condition, for essence love, which is intrinsic. Conditions can inspire essence love, but they are not conditioned by it. They do not rest only on it. Instead, through our minds and hearts, I would add, through our practice, we can reconnect to essence love without needing any conditions. Without needing any conditions. Yes, in its depth and in its development. It's certainly true. What did I say at the beginning? I don't know if at the beginning of making contact, regardless of conditions, we are able to access it. But that's just a part of the path. That's not the problem. We make contact with it in all the ways we can. That independence from external marks, the beginning of inner freedom. It is true beyond all conditions. This love is available. Then he gives us several practice opportunities. One is certainly just noticing objects and space and seeing where we can find great ease and rest. And the truth is, there is no object that will give us as great the ease as ultimately will open, vast space, and it is less conditioned. And so that's an opportunity. Reflecting on cravings. Here again, he talks about the hungry ghost. The ghost, by the way, is that big-bellied imagery. I should bring up maybe one of them next time. Gigantic belly, bottle-thin neck, a gigantic mouth. No matter how much we feed it, it cannot sate us. It is insatiable. These kinds of cravings and will not bring us any ease or true satisfaction. We can contemplate the existence of the hungry ghost being driven by intense cravings. I think cravings can be subtle or intense. I don't know. I think just thinking, oh, if I got that, then it's not necessarily intense, but I think it can be dangerous because we can buy into that so easily. Consider that nothing you can consume from the outside will ever fully satisfy this quality of heart mind, is I guess what I would say. We need to eat, but really this quality of heart mind is never ultimately satisfied by anything exterior to us. The trigger method, triggers may make use of conducive conditions. All that we're triggered by is, of course, conditionalized by us and our preference, and of course, consequently, often becomes a point of reactivity. We can bring the handshake to the beautiful monsters to this very triggering, to this very reactivity, and in fact, I think can create a fairly natural pause to that, to go, wait a minute, let me get back to me, see what I'm really needing, really offer myself this unconditional abiding. As Kathy was talking about again, can I just be with myself, know how I am and what I need right now? This is one of the greatest and most radical acts of love. And it works in all directions, so we don't need to worry about it getting stuck in one direction. Not at all. We can listen to music. We can be in nature. We can use those long, slow, gentle breaths. We can do the vase filling method that Saucony did in the early chapters. We can just abide our own handshaking quality and find that essence love there. We're going to be practicing then this week. Daniel Goleman, I'm going to let you all read this. Again, not too brilliant in the science, honestly, but it is worth reading if you haven't before, because he will speak to this for us. I'm going to see if I can't take that off and stop share for a moment. Okay, so look at all the opportunities we have. We can just be in nature, make contact. We can listen to music, make contact. We could handshake our own moment of distress. How lovely, really. Pick that one, would you? At least a few times this week. Just be with yourself, really, and offer yourself that moment. And I don't honestly care how you are. It's not really the point. Just drop in, say, hurts like this, tight like this, hard like this, hot like this, and stay. This is essence love, I think, in its greatest unconditioned nature. The willingness to stay by itself, I think, is the greatest act of essence love. Try it and see if we can't work force. I'll take a look here at chat. Thank you for reaffirming our right to protect our heart minds. Not only right, we really need to do it. I feel like I have limited resources, yes, and you get to do just that, Kathy. In any way we can help you, you let us know, because we're all there. We go from resource to under. That's our relative world, and we do need to take good care of ourselves on the path. Just letting our radiant hearts, I think, speak for ourselves shows us our true nature. Yes, Dennis, we just said that. Thank you. You're also welcome. Thank you. I often hang on to conditional love until I am empty. Boy, that's so smart, Robin. You're saying something really important here. The truth is, it is because we hang on to conditioned love that we end up empty. One leads to the other. That is exactly correct. And, it's a lot of work. A lot of work, isn't it? You're like giving it all, then you got to get something back. It's exhausting. And it will always be exhausting, and it will always be deficient, because it's wanting and not wanting nature is what is driving it all. I give it to you because I don't feel good, then I got to get it all back because you're not doing it for me. So that's a brilliant statement, and I think one that will help us know whether we are resting in unconditioned love, essence love, or whether in fact we are in this giving, wanting, not wanting, craving. If you would only give me, then I could be okay. And it will never come, as Saucony himself said, from anything beyond our own true nature. Give it to yourself first, like that good oxygen mask. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes, Siobhan, lovely to see you. And I hope we can all. So we know what the practices are this week. Be in nature, listen to music, be inspired, find a way to activate essence love. Remember, it's always there. You're not creating it. It was already there. You're just touching in on it. Take a nap, Kathy. Wouldn't that be amazing? And then actually feel like you could. Like, I'm really deserving of this. I'm going to make contact. That's essence love in one of its greatest frames, I think. This sort of guiltless regard, not just eating all the ice cream. This is just often craving in hand, but this unconditioned regard that says whatever is needed, I will offer this towards what? Wholeness, towards wholeness, not towards gratification. No, because why? There is no such thing. It all comes and goes. See, we're going to all eat again today, aren't we? Yes, we are. We are. Why? Well, because yesterday's food only satisfied that craving. It is conditioned. It comes and goes. We're hungry, we're full. We're hungry again, we're full again. This essence love says no, with a heart greater than any condition, I will offer myself this care. Greater than any condition. And then we offer ourselves whatever we need. But essence love is the engine. It is the ultimate driver. And it is already, isn't it really funny? I just did this for myself on Sunday. I was like, I just don't have it. I had big plans for Thanksgiving, and then I was going to get ready for the holidays, and I was going to put the gold around the rim of the, and I went, yeah, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I am literally just going to rest. I laid on the bed from 1 to 3. I didn't go to sleep. It felt like paradise. And by the way, I got up feeling that still. I didn't even sleep. I just created space and room and kindness and warmth for myself. And it fully filled that tank. And then I did 10,000 things, all from a place of love, not from having to do anything at all. Not from having to do anything at all. The natural energy of love arose and did what it did. Oh, amazing. I want you to see if you can't find your way to that. Thanks, Greg. We are not going to do St. Andrews this week because we've been so talking about all of the things that are most important to nurturing St. Andrews. So we're going to do St. Andrews next week, not this week. We are, however, going to go to Philabelly this week. Anybody who'd like to join on Thursday, we're going to go up there. We've got some jackets to bring. We've got some socks to bring. We've got some sleeping bags. If you'd like to purchase a sleeping bag, they're $25. We have 10 of them. We're going to bring those up there. I would love to have you join us up there. And then we have other opportunities. We'll be talking about that going forward. But Greg, are you on? You want to add?
If I can, yeah. So one of the things that they asked for was tents, 3-person tents. And I went online, and the best deal I could find was at Walmart. And they're $29 plus tax, of course. There were some that were on Amazon. They're a little bit less, but they didn't have the little rain fly on the top. So these look like the best ones. So if you're at all interested in doing that, I think I'm going to buy 3 or 4 of those and see if I can get them to you before this Thursday, Diana.
Sure.
And
we had another tent, Lynn, that you found that was like around $25, but it may not have had the rain top.
yeah, there are some on Amazon, but they're the one that I found that was like 25 or something like that was 2-person, and it didn't have the rain fly on top. So this is 3-person, and the weight's like 5 pounds, so it's pretty light.
Okay.
Diane, do we just send money for both those things through Venmo?
Yes. Yes, you can send it to just send it to the EMC Giving, and we will get it distributed in the right place. And I already put that on the chat line, but I'll put it back there. If you'd prefer to, well, they're all about $25, aren't they, Greg?
Yeah, I found some that were less. They were $16. I thought, oh, this is it. But they had $14 shipping.
Oh, okay. Okay. So if anybody's, you don't have to do it right now. I'll put the thing back up there just so you have it. It's Encinitas mindfulness.org/EMC-giving. That should get it to you. That'll get you to that site, encinitasmindfulness.org. Yeah, that's it. Or show up. On Thursday up at the United Methodist Church. We will be there by around 6 ish. I've tried to make contact on the website, Facebook, excuse me, asking for someone to identify someone who we could bring the things to, and they haven't gotten back to me yet. So I'll reach back out to them to see who we could meet. Although, as Lynn told us last week, there were plenty. There's Kevin, and I think a guy named Tim that are there. We will certainly find somebody. I don't think that's good.
Randa also is there.
Randa's there.
Yeah.
Randa's there. Greg, do you have Randa's number? Because if you do, we might call Randa.
Yeah, I do. I do have Randa's
Send that
number. I'll
to me.
send that to you.
Thank
Yeah,
you. I think
an
we'll call
email.
Randa, let her know that we're coming,
Right.
so they can have at least a place prepared where to put the stuff. That might
Sure.
be
Will
helpful.
do.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. Really just taking a moment to draw from that heart mind that's committed in all of these amazing ways and committed to ourselves as well, as Kathy's reminded. Sometimes we got to create that tent for ourselves before we can offer them. And we call that right practice, right effort, and will lead completely to right result. And may this practice contribute that it be so. So, thank you. Thank you all so much. Good to see you all. Greg's on Thursday. I'll be here in the garden on Saturday, and we have Dia, Denise, and Jessica now on Sundays at 7:30. If you haven't dropped in yet, please drop in to join them. We need this practice opportunity more than ever. Thank you all. Good to see you. Be well, everyone. We'll be back with chapter 6 next week. By the way, we're not going to come back to chapter 5. We're going to just do our little practice. We'll go on to chapter 6. I'll see you all then.